stripped it down and rebuilt it. And this is one of those examples. This lab 3 you see coming around was built in 1998, but then went back into the factory and came out in 2008. And this is the lab 3 It's much heavier than the lab 3 and has technology that was developed from the unfortunate lessons of the first few years of the Afghanistan conflict. Basic on many soldiers were due to roadside bombs or IEDs. So they developed the lab 3 in the book. You want to look at So unlike the lab 3, it doesn't have an armor. Just because it's tracked, just because it has a weapon on it, doesn't make it a tank. As you know now, they're armored personnel carriers and other roles for those armored vehicles. But now let's look at actual tanks. Here we see the iconic M4. I think when people ponder in their mind, just say the word tank with your eyes closed. You probably see the Sherman. It's so iconic here in the West. It came in many, many variants. It came from 1941 of the Sherman 10. And as you can see, for an old girl who's born in 1945, this tank can really move. In the Second World War, there was a concept of a light tank, a medium tank, and a heavy tank. And you can see some of those examples in the museum. The Sherman was a medium tank. It was meant for infantry and to fight other medium tanks. This particular model of tank, including this one here, Bart, were made famous by the 2014 movie Fury with Brad Pitt. The same sort of tank that Brad Pitt was using in that film. Now the Sherman was made, they were built in the United States, but a lot of them had Canadian components. The United States and Canada had a joint war effort, war production. But in 1977, Canada was looking, in the 1950s, Canada was looking for a replacement for the Sherman. And in 1945, the British were trying to come out with a tank that would be bigger and better than the Tiger and the Panther, the German super tank in the Second World War. And what they came up with was the Centurion, but they came up with it too late. They never got to the battlefield in 1955. And once again, the concept is, how do you put your these were British tanks, and they came out in the 1950s. They replaced Canada's Shermans. They also replaced vehicles for Australia and many other countries around the world. The Centurion is the most battle-tested main battle tank in world history. Variants of the Centurion are still in service today, even though it's a 1960 tank. It served in Korea, it served in Vietnam, it served in conflicts all over the Middle East. It is much heavier. And these were served with the Canadian Armed Forces up until 1977. When Canada had a brigade of tanks stationed in Europe. This is what we were Americans were also developing a main battle tank. And this is the M60A3 MBT. Here it has a nickname, it's known as Grumpy. Send out the Challenger. Now I told you about the Leopard and how quick it was, but you'll get to see it in action now. Up against this American monster of a tank will be Leopard 1. So they're both still currently in service in many countries around the world, even though they're slightly older tanks. Here we have the American M60 main battle tank. Come on, Brendan, show off your gun. There's Brendan up there. It's a crew commander. Like I said, 105 millimeter main weapon. So it has the same gun as the Leopard. So they are equal in firepower. No gun is larger than the enemy's. Each of them has the same bark. So a hit is a hit. Now down here, deep inside the tank, under this massive amount of armor, we have Pete Cochner. He's a longtime volunteer. You can't see him because he's looking through those vision blocks. So the M60, however, look at the frontal armor on this tank. It is massive. It's one of the most heavily armored front glacis plates of any main battle tank of the 20th century. So even 105 millimeter round into the front of the M60 is not going to penetrate this tank. That is the strength of the M60. The Leopard is very well armored. Its strongest armor is also at the front, but one or two rounds could actually penetrate into the front of the Leopard. The Leopard's strength is not its frontal armor, it's its speed. At weighing over 50 tons, the M60 kind of lumbers. It's heavily armored and slow. The Leopard at just over 40 tons has the same punch, less armor, and thus is much faster on the battlefield. So the Leopard will have to try to use its speed and the guile of the crew to outmaneuver the M60 and get shots in the engine compartment at the back or decent shots on the side of the tank of the M60. Whereas the M60, almost any direct shot on the Leopard could penetrate its armor. So they are actually quite equal, but in different strengths. So how does this work? I'm gonna definitely get out of this tank arena because it will not be safe here. This is gonna be loud. It's simulated fire through their main weapons. They are gonna go to their firing positions. I'm gonna tell them to start Battle Royale. It's unscripted. The crews are actually trying to defeat each other. They're highly trained, but they're using the strengths of their tank, the weaknesses of the enemy tank, to get as many direct hits as possible in a short period of time. Now, pay attention to who's firing, where they're firing, and when you think there's a hit. Because at the end of the segment, I'm bringing them back. And it's you who's going to decide which tank and which crew wins World of Tanks Battle Royale. Does that sound fun? Yeah! Does that sound like one heck of a finale to Tank Saturday? Okay, I better get to safety. Main battle tanks, take your starting positions. Looks like the M60 is in a great position, already aiming at the Leopard. Notice the M60 has their side towards the Leopard, but it's protected by that hill. First shot by the M60. Leopard didn't like that. Returning fire. M60 slowly moving towards the Leopard's position. Leopard using its speed to move to a new position. Good shot by the Leopard, but most of the armor of the M60 was behind that hill. Leopard's not taking a firing position. He's actually moving up on the M60. Notice how the Leopard is using that hill from the M60's position. The lower part of the Leopard's armor cannot be hit. Return fire by the Leopard. Oh, the M60's engine is exposed. Can the Leopard get off a shot? Leopard in a firing position? No. Look at this, the M60 spinning its frontal armor towards the enemy. It's almost like just try me, Leopard. Leopard start, that would have been a hit by the M60 on the Leopard. M60 definitely had the advantage there, but now the Leopard's speed leaves the M60 with its engine exposed. Get Leopard crew, get a shot into that engine deck. Bam! Great shot by the Leopard. Leopard crew doing a good job tracking that target. Notice they can turn their turrets all the way around, but when they put their gun over the engine deck, they don't have the right depression to get on target. Leopard in a great position. Look at that hill. M60 having none of it, firing on the move. Strong frontal armor towards the Leopard. Leopard decides to two more shots and then we'll bring them back to center. Leopard quickly into a firing position. Leopard absolutely charging. What will the M60 do? Both of them are in a great firing position. Their lower hulls protected by the hill. Tanks, let's return to center. Return to center.
But the Leopard immobilized the M60 extremely well by hitting the engine deck.
That was after. Yeah. M60 pursued the Leopard like 3 times.
that you won't see in any other tank museum in the world is a simulated tank battle.
Everyone will decide. The bottom would have.
Okay, so this is where the power goes from the tank crews to the audience. Based on what you've learned today and the rules of Battle Royale, you have to decide which crew, which tank. Don't vote for your favorite tank. Which crew do you think outfought, outsmarted, outwitted, and used the characteristics of their vehicle better than the other crew? So you're voting for the crew and how they fought in Battle Royale. Are you guys ready for this?
Yeah.
Here we got our crews out. You can see their smiling faces. If you believe that the M60 crew won Battle Royale with hoots, hollers, clapping, and shouts, let them know.
I've had a decision.
If you believe that the Leopard crew won Battle Royale with hoots and hollers and shouts and cheering, let them know. Okay, wait a minute.
Head.
One more time. M60?
What are you
Leopard.
doing? What the hell are you doing?
Congratulations, Leopard crew. You have won the first Battle Royale of 2024. Now, I hope that you guys have had a great time, that you've learned a lot about military history, about tanks and armored vehicles, and we really hope that what you can do to help this museum, you could come back, but it's better to leave a review, tell a friend, put something on TripAdvisor, Google, or Facebook about the experience you had here today, and there's nowhere else in the world that you can experience tanks like this. So let's hear it for all the volunteers that put this together today one last time. So again, I'm Jeremy. I'm the Executive Director of the museum. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Check out the military encampments. Check out the museum displays in the military market. And I'll see you on the next one. Happy Saturday.